my name is Olivia again, and I've been interested in economic alternatives and popular education and solidarity economy and different ways of thinking about how to do economic development differently, how to envision economic alternatives and build and work and organize for those on local and regional scales. And so I'll be doing a solidarity economy presentation later on today with Ethan. And am I speaking loud enough for everyone? I'll let them introduce.
All right, and so I'm Ethan again. Live at the JED Collective in Green, and when I'm not there, I've been a grad student at UMass Amherst, studying basically a lot of what we're going to talk about, trying to rethink our ideas about the economy, and trying to make connections between the way we think about what the economy is and how that affects what we think is possible in terms of alternatives. So we'll dig into that. And I'm super excited to be here with you all. It's really great to see lots of familiar faces and lots of new faces. I've been away for a while, so I missed you all. The JED Collective is a small intentional community cooperative homestead in Green. Been around for about 10 years. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of us here. I'm sure people will be excited to talk about it more.
I'm Mike Howard. I teach philosophy at the University of Maine. I've been researching socialism, market socialism, cooperatives for a couple of decades, and a couple of books up here if people are interested in looking at them. This afternoon I'll be doing the session on market socialism and cooperatives. I've also been doing work on basic income, and I'll have a little bit to add at the end of Olivia and Ethan's presentation here this morning.
So just to give you an overview of what we hope to do in this session, so it's entitled, What is an Economy Anyway? So before discussing alternatives and before discussing all these different ways of thinking about alternatives and all these different models and frameworks for thinking about those, we wanted to kind of discuss definitions of the ways that we can define economies, discuss the various processes, economic processes that we can think about when we think about all these different types of alternatives, to think about a number of questions that we can ask about various alternatives and trying to explore different possibilities, multiply those possibilities, or compare various possibilities. And we'll talk about the values that we're looking for an economy to embody, issues of sustainability and viability over time, and talk about the economy as kind of a site of struggle and possibility. And before we jump into kind of talking about what is an economy, I wanted to just say a few words about, well, why is it necessary to define an economy? It might seem obvious. We all know what an economy is, right? But in thinking about this day, we're thinking about how it's actually not that obvious. There's various ways that people define economy, and how the economy is defined, what fits into the economy and what the main structures of an economy are, really shapes what we are able to see as possible or viable. So certain definitions of economy might make things invisible, and especially things that we might really desire as alternatives. And so certain definitions of economy might really limit what we're able to imagine. Also, certain definitions of economy might really make it difficult to see how we can intervene and make any difference. Like there's just these laws of motion in the economy and these structures that are inevitable and that we can't make any difference, right? So we don't want a definition like that that's disempowering either. So we're going to be, working at thinking about what kind of definition of economy, what kinds of ways of thinking of economy can kind of help make visible various types of alternatives that are in line with our values, and how can it, be empowering and help us see multiple points of intervention, and help us multiply the different possibilities that we might see. So we wanted to just start with, what do you all understand as economy? You know, what do you, when you think of the economy, what do you think is kind of belonging to this realm? So you can all, you know, raise hands and keep it brief, like a few words, and Ethan is just going to write them all down.
If I remember correctly, economy is from the Greek oikos, meaning house, the study of the house, and or the whole rather than a piece.
Circulation of goods and services through society.
Food and shelter.
Money.
Money. Did you hear that he said interactions dealing with wealth and property? Capitalism.
Making a living.
Financial structure.
Financial. Production in goods and services.
Culture, context, and time.
Just repeat each
So
person.
culture, context, and time.
Instability.
Instability.
Incentive.
Incentive.
Distribution.
What was that?
Distribution.
Distribution.
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Social justice and injustice.
Social justice and injustice.
Lehman Brothers.
The haves and the have-nots.
Haves and have-nots.
Human scale.
Human scale.
Human ecology.
Human ecology. I'm going to just speak for you. Guys are doing a great job of predicting also.
Monsanto.
Monsanto.
Technological development.
Technological development.
Absence of the sacred. Absence of the sacred.
Absence of the sacred.
I'm confused now.
Or our economy.
We are defining what is an economy. What is an economy? So these are associations or qualities, but it gives us a sense of, you know, even those words that are descriptive also gives us a sense of what is it that we're talking about. So as Ethan is going to talk about, many of these words, they don't even show up in neoclassical economics textbooks as something you even should consider in studying the economy, right? So that they're all part of our definition of economy is important, or that it's our first association.
I want to add human capital to human ecology.
Human capital.
Energy.
Energy, great.
Say exchange of energy.
Exchange of energy. So let's take two more. We could probably go on forever. This is a really rich list already.
I'll be open world. Natural process.
Natural process. Okay, so two more. We'll be discussing this all day. So.
Might be similar with tool. The Greek usually mentioned of supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Last you forget.
The interaction of everything with everything else.
Okay, great.
Metaphor for work.
Metaphor for work. Okay, so this is a beautiful list, and it's already, a lot more complex and diverse than the mainstream or dominant representations of economy and what goes into it and what we should care about. So I'm going to pass it to Ethan, and that's what he's going to talk about next. So, before we start to build a little bit of some frameworks for thinking that we find useful in thinking about economy, Ethan's going to just talk a little bit about, characterize the dominant representation and the impact, the consequences that can have.
So, in some ways, the big point here, which is a little bit hard to grasp, is that there's not just this thing out there that is the economy that we just deal with, that we tell stories about reality, and we can tell lots of different stories about reality. And the economy and the way we talk about it is just one set of stories. We can tell those stories really differently, and different people tell them differently, and different stories serve different kinds of interests differently, right? So what we're saying is that the definition of economy isn't just given. It's something that we have to really ask ourselves and question what it is that we're saying. And because we have these dominant ideas about what the economy is that we're fed through the media and we're fed through school over and over again, and these ideas colonize our minds, and they make it really difficult for us to think about economy differently. So real quick, I'm talking about the monster here, the monster idea that's gotten inside of our brains about what the economy is and how it works. If you can't see it, it's a snow globe with the Statue of Liberty inside. It says, "Help! I'm trapped inside of capitalism." So the first thing that we get taught is that the economy is this big system. We talk about the economic system, this big unified thing that we live inside of, and we can name that thing. So we live inside of capitalism, and the snow globe is kind of a good metaphor because when you're inside of it, everything that's happening seems like it's the weather. It's just this natural phenomenon that's just happening, you know? But when you step outside, you realize that it was actually manufactured in a sweatshop in Bangladesh. So it's actually, this thing is made, it's not actually the weather. So this is the thing. This is the name that's given to our big system, is the capitalist market economy. That's the name of the economy. That's what the economy is. That's what it means. If we get a little bit more nuanced in our thinking about the economy, like if you open up an intro to economics textbook, you'll find out that the economy is actually made of two things.
Right.
We have the capitalist market economy on one hand, and then we have the state on the other hand. So it's the same big sphere, the same big system, but it's just divided into two. And those two things fight back and forth between each other. And everybody argues about, well, how much of the market should we have, and how much of the state should we have, and then we have hidden behind that is this great polarization, right? The classical capitalism versus communism. Because when you have the snow globe system idea, it turns out that the only way to think about it is like, well, you either have one system or you have the other system. So everybody just goes back and forth about which one system they're going to have, right? Or, how we regulate one sector using the other sector. So this is all we've got. There's not much to imagine in this situation. It's not very hopeful. And where are we? Thinking about like our own power, our own communities, totally absent from this picture. So we end up with a situation where we've got the market, the state, and then, if you can't see, alternatives, which is everything that's not the market and the state, is like it's on the moon.
Okay.
There's a little satellite there kind of orbiting the Earth. So that's kind of a caricature of where we're starting in terms of what we've been taught to think about the economy. So then Olivia's gonna jump in with some different ways to think about it.